Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Roasters Guild's second formal Trierside Chat. My name is Andy Trindle-Mersch, and I am one of your Roasters Guild executive members, so thank you all for that. And again, this is our second Trierside Chat. This is a new program of the Roasters Guild Executive Council, kind of managed by the Membership and Communications Committee, of which I'm a member of that committee. And our goal with these quarterly chats are to find a way to reach out and engage more with our Roasters Guild members. So, and also to people who might be interested in members or interested in conversations that we're having. So again, it's the second one. We look forward to having you throughout the rest of the programs this year. Today's program is going to be about regional roasters groups, and I'm particularly excited about this because I think one of the whole points of this Trierside Chat is to try to reach out to our members more, because a lot of us don't know each other. We see, maybe if we're lucky, we get to go to retreat annually, and that's sort of what we think of as the Roasters Guild a lot of times. And really, there's a lot of us out there and a lot of people in small groups doing a lot of really awesome things. So we wanted to make the focus of this Trierside Chat a way to learn a little bit more about regional roasters groups, which is a way that we can all get better connected in between annual retreat and also just different mediums throughout the year besides just social media and Facebook posts, etc. So that's what our program is on today, and we have some great people to speak about different components. We have Monsi from the SCAA. If you can just wave, Monsi. She's going to let you know about some great supports programs that the SCAA has for Regional Roasters Group, including some funds for some events. So that's going to be really awesome, and also a membership map. So I'll let her talk about that. But after that, we're also going to have Adrian Blasky, if you can raise your hand, and Danny Goot, if you can raise your hand, and Todd Arnett, if you can raise your hand. And they're each going to speak on, they're involved in various regional roasters groups, and they're going to sort of give you an idea of what their groups do, how long they've been around, and some ideas for you that might work to start forming a group or to join one of their groups. So that's where we're at for today. So Monsi, if you can take it away and let us know how the SCAA can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. Super excited to be here. And Andy's absolutely right that the SCAA is very supportive of regional roaster groups, particularly encouraging our Roasters Guild members and empowering them to create these groups. And we'll hear more about how those groups form from our experienced leaders that we'll talk a little bit, but I wanted to let you know about some of the ongoing plans that we've had. So one of the things, if anyone pays attention to the SCA strategic plan, is we have as one of our key metrics is to help encourage and develop our member-driven activity. And so part of that program has been where we've created a community calendar. You might have seen Roasters Guild MDEs being promoted, and those are basically member-driven events, and when somebody is hosting something, we post it on our community calendar and go ahead and let the Roasters Guild member know about these events. Well, the second phase of that is just coming out now, and it's about developing a map, so a resource where we would have all of the members plotted on this map, where you can the members, because we have to make sure that there's privacy issues addressed, would just be a dot. It wouldn't necessarily give people's name and contact info, but that would be for a later phase of the map, of course. The idea would be to help members exchange and network with each other. But from a visual standpoint, it would just be a plot of all of the members that exist, and then a second layer where you would see the regional groups that exist. So this would be a program that we are going to announce officially with this chat that we're having right now. But there would be a form to follow on our Roasters Guild website where any group, and by group I mean people, individuals that are roasters that want to come together to creating groups that already exist, they could apply to be placed on this map. Now, a couple of things that we want to do with that. We don't want to just put them on the map and then, you know, that's it. Obviously, the recognition on the map is going to go two ways, where if there's events that they're promoting in their regional groups, we want to let our members know about it. So again, we're connecting our members. We're hoping that they would also host some meet and greet type of events, and SCAA has budgeted for those regional groups to have some support, so we could maybe cover the first round of drinks, or drinks and appetizers, depending on where it is, or if it's a coffee event, cover the cost of the coffee that's going to be used in the tasting or the cupping that's happening. So this is the kind of way that we have budgeted for supporting these types of Trierside chats to happen more locally. And one of the ways that we would vet that is through the map and making sure that these communities are existing in different places, but then also that members are encouraged to create these communities if they don't see one around them, because the map will definitely show you, wow, there's so many people in my area, we should just have our own group so we can do our own events. And that can be as extensive as something like a mini event over a weekend, but it can be as simple as just a meetup at a local members roastery, or maybe even just a bar that you guys go to. So it would definitely be something that is left open to interpretation, but the main objective would be that members are getting together in their local communities and getting to meet each other, and new members especially are getting a chance to meet other local members in their area. And so that's what we are exploring here. We have our form that's going to be going up in a few weeks here. The map is getting ready, and I hope to have that ready by the retreat. Just a couple of tweaks, and if you're one of our special members that's involved with some of our other guilds, you might have noticed that we released something with the Barista Guild as well. So this is a program that we definitely have support for. We already have the infrastructure built, and so we're just getting all the pieces squared away to actually launch the map on the website. But we're really supported by SCAA for this, and I'm really encouraged that the Roasters Guild members will find value, because connecting locally has been one of the big pieces of feedback that we continue to get on our membership surveys, and this is going to be yet another way that members can connect and meet locally, but then also not feel like they have to foot the bill. Hopefully SCA can help a little with that.
Great. Thank you so much, Monsi. We'll have time for questions. I should have said that at the beginning, that in the last 10 to 15 minutes, we'll have plenty of time for questions. So if you have questions about this map or the form, there will be ample opportunity. One thing I forgot to say in my intro, because I didn't rehearse, and I'm a trained actor, I should have known better, is that I'm really hopeful that everybody who's out there who's got regional roasting groups, because there's a lot more people than the 3 people speaking on this call, that they are willing to fill out the form. It's going to be very low key in terms of information. It's not really requiring you to do anything. It's really just about letting the SCAA / the Roasters Guild Executive Council know who you are, so that we can reach out to you efficiently and support you. So just want to really encourage that people participate, and we'll make sure that gets posted on the website and social media and other ways to make sure that everybody knows it's out there. Okay, so let's hear from some of the different regional roasting groups out there. And Adrienne Blasky, who's going to speak next, she's actually part of coordinating, creating this whole Trierside Chat concept. She's on the Marketing and Communications Committee with me. So welcome to Adrienne, and take it away.
Hi, can everyone hear me? All right, great. So like Andy said, I'm Adrienne Blasky. I work with her on the Membership and Communications Committee for the Roasters Guild. And I'm super excited about this chat because it's very relevant to something that we've been trying to do in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I work with cafe imports, and so I have a great opportunity to talk with a lot of roasters in the area. And a lot of things that people wanted to talk about was, how do we connect with each other? We're all in the same area. We're all interested in, obviously, coffee together, so we have one common interest. So how do we connect with each other? How do we kind of do that first olive branch to maybe some of our competitors that we don't talk to a lot? So in talking with a couple of people, we decided we were going to try to make a regional group, or at least a citywide group, a reality for our community. The Northern Coffee Alliance currently is mostly people in the Twin Cities area. We have had one official meeting that was fall of last year, and it was just kind of a kickoff to announce that we had created this group, that we wanted to get more people involved and wanted to help spread the word about different events happening in our community. Our mission is to excite, unify, and support the Northern Coffee community. So we wanted it to keep it, there's a movement in the Twin Cities and kind of Minnesota in general called #North. So we wanted to kind of keep along that line and really help promote even our area. It is open to people outside of roasting at the moment. We wanted it to be something very supportive, not exclusive. We wanted to open it up to even people who are interested in getting into coffee. So we're still developing. So this is really exciting for me to hear how some of these other groups that have been around a little longer are really benefiting their communities and getting the word out. And I mentioned that we had one big event. We had a big kind of barbecue. We rented a little park space, invited people to bring brats. We're really into brats. So bring some brats, bring some dishes to pass. And also we did a camp brew throwdown. So we told people they could bring anything that they would brew coffee in while camping with them. We provided a hand grinder and some water and the fire and grill space needed to heat your water source. So that was a lot of fun. There were a lot of different methods. A couple people did AeroPress. Someone had like a whole camp espresso set, which was pretty cool. And the winner just did kind of a traditional sock brew method. We had three judges that tasted all the coffees and picked the ones that they thought tasted the best. So our winner, Andy Ryland, he walked away with like kind of a camp percolator so that he could take it camping with him. And that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good interest, a lot of people from different backgrounds. The Twin Cities has a budding coffee community that's been around for a while, and now we're just trying to connect everyone. In the future, we hope to be able to support throwdowns, we've talked about doing like a job fair, so getting people who maybe don't know what is possible for a career in coffee, give them the resources to say, here's where all of us started. Maybe it wasn't in coffee, and here's where we are, and how can we help you? So that's really what the Northern Coffee Alliance is trying to do. We're still very, very young, still figuring things out, and still really trying to hit the ground running.
Cool. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Adrian. Yeah, and so another thing I forgot to mention is that we took, of the 3 people who are speaking today on their regional roasters groups, we took them in order of youngest to oldest. Not necessarily individuals, though now that I'm looking at Todd Arnett, who's going last, but actually in the order of youngest to oldest group. So next we have Danny Goot, whose group is a little bit older than Adrian. So welcome, Danny. And he's also a Roasters Guild Executive Council member, and thanks to everyone for electing him.
Great, thanks so much. Yeah, and thanks for electing me to be to serve for you. This group started, which is called the Bay Area Coffee Roasters Group, started in 2011 by Tom Owen of Sweet Maria's and Coffee Shrub. And the group was mainly a catalyst for people to get together with getting more people involved and not just having one person kind of throwing these together or one company, but giving the opportunity for other people to get up and do things and lead. which I think is fantastic. Um, and I have not been with the group that long. I've been with the group for about a little over 2 years. We've done several different events that have turned out really successful. One of the events, like Adrian mentioned earlier, that their group down there is open to pretty much anybody who wants to come, and that's kind of my philosophy. If you can get off the couch and spend time to come hang out with us and learn something, we're more than happy to have you, and we're really excited that you're excited, and that's what keeps us going with these types of events. Um, we did several events that were really awesome for everybody. One of them was we did an event where one of our members, David Johnson, who you might know, had some old aged coffee, and the goal was to hand it out to, you know, I think maybe 5 to 8 different roasters to roast it and do our tricks and what we could do to make this coffee less agey, to roast some age out of it, if you will. And the outcome was great. We got a lot of people at this event. There was probably about 30 people who showed up to cup these coffees, and then we had a chance to talk about our methods and what we do and what works best for us to do with this. Now, this is something that's not only fun to do, but extremely practical. When you're purchasing coffee or roasting coffee, you're going to run into this at some point where you're going to be a little long, or the coffee that you have doesn't sustain like you want it to, and you have to work with it and figure it out. So that was great. Another one that we did, where we did a pairing with coffee and fruit, which is something, you know, this was a couple of years ago also. So this was something that that David also came up with, and we had this at Barneville Coffee on the other side of town. The good thing about having these types of groups is to have it gives you an opportunity to also get out and get into the other cafe communities. So somebody who wouldn't normally have wouldn't have a throwdown, or maybe it's a little too small for a throwdown, you could ask them to host, and then it puts you into a space that you normally wouldn't be in, and it also brings new people into their space. And that was kind of our goal. So we had a rotating places where we would go and have these exercises. So that was a lot of fun, doing the fruit and coffee, which Barneville it's a high-end restaurant also, so it kind of fit really well with their theme, and they were really excited to host it. And that was a little bit smaller of a turnout, but it was fantastic, and we learned a lot. But you know, what's really important for these groups is that we learn from each other, and that we share our knowledge, and we gain some. I mean, I've been roasting coffee for about 23 years now. And there isn't time where I don't learn new tricks or learn new things. Coffee is always evolving, and it's always improving. And if I were to keep my tricks back in the 90s to what I'm doing today, that wouldn't be so much fun, and would be the coffee wouldn't, the good quality of coffee that we get now wouldn't be able to be seen with the old ways. So this is a good way to keep current. It's a good way to experiment. It's a good way to make new friends, which I've done all this with. And luckily for me, part of my job is to be part of the community too. So what gets me excited about being a part of these larger communities is having others come up and help and take on these projects and do it. So if any of you even outside of the Bay Area where I'm at, I'm in Oakland, we have our roasters group is a Facebook page also. There's about 180 members on there right now. I would love to talk to you if you'd like to start your own group in your region, to contact me or any of us here at Roasters Guild Executive Council. And we would love to show you how to get one started. We have ideas on things that we've done, and I'm sure you have ideas, and we'd like to get your ideas also so we can implement them in our groups. And this also helps us get excited and ready for the Roasters Guild retreat by getting these ideas and sharing these things. And also, when you go to retreat and you bring this stuff back and things you've learned from retreat and share them with other people, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think my time is up, but I wanted to thank everyone again for having me speak. And you can look it up on our group on Facebook. It's a Bay Area Coffee Roasters group, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Thanks again. Todd, I guess you're the oldest, so.
Hey,
In,
hey, hey.
Indeed, although with 23 years roasting, Danny, I always forget you're as old as me. Nice. It's good. You look younger.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, so let's turn it over to Todd. So Todd is our oldest member group. His group's been going on the longest, so we wanted to sort of wrap up with his experience on what their group has gone through. And I also, another thing I had wanted to add into the dialogue is that I had spoken to Connie Blumhart from Roaster Magazine, who was part of the Northwest Regional Group for a long time, and she really loved and believed in the group. And one thing that happened to her group and her over time is it got hard for her as a volunteer to keep managing and keeping the momentum going. So Todd, as you give kind of your general background and some of your ideas, it would be great if you could also comment specifically on how, for as long as you have, do you keep it going so that you can sustain it?
Sure. That would be my pleasure. Or I should say, there we go, I'm unmuted. The Southeast Roasters Consortium, CIRC as we call it, we have very strict membership requirements. You have to be southeast of somewhere. You have to like coffee. You either have to be in the trade or want to be in the trade. So if you meet that criteria, you're welcome. And we draw from about as far south as the Gulf Coast. I'm in the Middle Atlantic. I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia, near Washington, D.C. And we'll draw from even as far as Chicago area. So people are southeast of somewhere. How you make it work, I am not one of the founding members. I discovered CIRC in its second year, so I have been an active participant for 10 of the 11 years. I have hosted CIRC 4 times now. I'll be hosting it again this coming March. Part of the reason we're able to be sustainable is we always meet at the same time. It's a 2 to 3 day event, and it takes place every March. Now, we use CIRC as a kind of a dress rehearsal, if you will, for a class that's going to go on at Expo. And so when CIRC is hosted in a certified lab like mine or Ricardo's down at Ally or other people that are in the process of getting their lab certified, we're able to extend credit in the certificate pathways. So that's an attractive option. So how you make it work for so many years is you need a small core of people that, to be blunt, want it to work. There's a little bit of a financial risk at stake, so you have to be willing to fund a large party. We charge a reasonable price at the door for the ticket, and that's generally how we break even. If we don't break even and we're a little short, hey, we had a great party. And if we're a little bit over, then that gets thrown into the kitty for the next year. So that's kind of how we work it out. We host it at different venues because it travels around the Southeast, kind of like traveling circus, if you will. And you need to have a place that's large enough to accommodate 25 to 60 people because in any given year we'll draw that many. You also need to hold it in a place who is of a mindset that they're okay with 25 to 60 of their potential competitors wandering around their place. Now, anyone who's been roasting long enough knows that if you know who and where I buy my coffee from, which most of you do, and if you had enough time, you could probably dissect any roast and style that I make, or you could just ask me and I'll tell you, because I'm convinced that I am a better coffee professional and roaster for having the company of not only just the people who are in the video here, but the company of my colleagues in the Roasters Guild and the Barista Guild and Specialty Coffee Association. So CIRC is an extension of that. You don't have to be a member of SCAA or Roasters Guild, but it's kind of an entry-level way to get in. Most of the people who join, who I shouldn't say join, attend CERC on a regular basis tend to go on to become members because it's that whole sense of community. You know, like Adrian and like Danny before me, we do some really cool, fun, geeky things. The people who are regular attendees have connections back to Origin, own cafes, own roasteries, have all kinds of weird skills in their back pocket that just make for a very engaging event. We generally have something going on the Friday night, and it's a meet and greet, drinks, old friends, hey, good to see you again, and there we set the stage for the competition. That, of course, whenever you get a bunch of roasters together, there's always has to be a competition. And then the next day we do some class content programming, some great lectures, some great hands-on experiences in competition, cap it off that night. The next morning we tend to have, like a Sunday breakfast brunch, people get on the road. So that's the general format of how it works. We tend to charge between $100 and $125 a head. That covers all the educational content, food, drink, etc. that'll happen in the place. Cleaning crew coming in after we're done, that kind of stuff. And we take place every March, generally not the weekend that is the NCAA Final Four. Generally not the weekend that is, SCAA, no, we're SCAA, National, the basketball, there we go. Generally not the basketball weekend, generally not the National Coffee Association weekend. And that only leaves 1 or 2 weekends available in March, but it becomes a very predictable thing so people can manage their schedule well in advance.
I'm going to very quickly interject because I forgot to remind people or let people know that if you have any questions you want to ask of any of the speakers or just generally about this whole program, please do # Roasters Guild, and that will get you onto our board and we'll be able to answer your questions. So # Roasters Guild. Thanks.
Okay. But that's the gist of how it works. The next layer of how it works is we have a large group of people that intrinsically enjoy coming, and so that's what keeps it going. And again, it's just that large sense of community that we all, that's how we all found each other in the first place, and we just make it easier for people to do that. Want me to turn it back to you there, Andy? Or?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Todd. Yeah, it's great to see the different level of years of these different groups and how they can go. And really that's the actual sort of preformed content that we have for today's chat. We don't necessarily always need the entire hour, but we hopefully have questions, or perhaps even other panelists have questions for each other or comments. One thing that I'm really particularly interested in from both the panelists and also maybe other people who are listening is sort of how you would like the SCAA and the Roasters Guild to support you. I know money is one piece of it, but are there other ways, and do you think us getting stronger behind these regional roaster groups in whatever format that takes is a valuable thing for membership? Or do you have better things that we should be working on? Just very frankly, as a Roasters Guild Executive Council elective volunteer, I've been trying to find a way to make sure that I'm really useful, that I'm doing something, and it's sometimes there's so much that's been going on for so many years that's so good and so strong, and it's hard, trying to find a way to make sure that I'm adding value. So this has occurred to me as something that I think, gosh, I think this would be really great for our community if we really got behind these regional groups. But before I go start supporting and driving these initiatives, it would be really great to get the feedback if that's what members want. Is this something that members would find useful and valuable? And if so, what are the dream levels of support the Guild can provide to you and the association can provide to you? So let's see, do we have any questions yet? No questions yet. Just a reminder that if anybody has them, # Roasters Guild. And otherwise, do any of the panelists have anything that could any of you maybe respond to prior to being more connected to the Roasters Guild Executive Council and the SCAA, like ways that you wish you had more support? Todd?
Dovetailing on what you said about support, a lot of the people who attend CIRC, and you guys, Danny and Adrian, may experience similarly. They say, "Oh, geez, I just found out about you guys. How long have you been here?" And one thing that SCAA has been really good about whenever labs host classes is the support via social media. So as a regional group is having an event, whether it's CIRC's annual gathering or Danny's group or Adrian's group, or even like the member-driven events, and you might want to talk a little bit more about what those are, getting it into the assorted channels of social media, that can be a tremendous way to generate further interest. People have busy calendars and they don't necessarily always look at this particular channel or that particular channel, or I don't have I need to delegate this to my teenager. I don't have the technical capability to know what's the current venue that's supposed to be used, right? So accessing the social media would be a tremendous help in getting more word out about budding regional roasting communities.
Yeah, and if I can definitely speak to that a little bit. We do have that built into the member-driven event program where any member of these guilds can submit their event. We would post that to the community calendar and also provide social media support. So that's absolutely one of the first things we wanted to get set up and going. We also set out like a little care package of some goodies alongside that. If it's at least a month in advance, then we're able to do that. The other thing that we started a couple of years ago was the extract series, and those are literally event templates where you have a 2-pager document that shows you what materials you need, how to host a specific activity, and I could definitely see that being something that the roasting groups can adopt, or maybe have as a portion of their event. It sounded like some of the events were just an evening, and some of the events were like 2-3 days. So I could see any of the extract series that are currently made. That can be something that can be popped into an event schedule. But on the flip side, if you have an event or an idea, I think that would be great for the Roasters Guild to promote, like, look, this is what CIRC did and you can do it too. Here is the event template, and we can convert that into an extract series. Part of the layering of the phases of this more support for community with the MDEs, and then extract series event templates, and then now the membership map, hopefully that's just building upon the ongoing support. With the map, I really see the highlighting of the regional groups as being one big way that our members, as soon as they join, we would promote the map to them, and then hopefully they would use that to connect to their local regional group, in turn getting you more support of who is new in your area. And maybe not new, maybe just somebody who didn't know.
Hey, Monsi, can you clarify just a little bit the difference and similarities between the MDEs, the member-driven events, and the regional roaster groups?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any member can submit a member-driven event, and that could be it could be a company hosted event. It can be just an individual hosting an event. So what's been popular with the Roasters Guild, I think most recently, was like a cupping that happened, I believe it was in Los Angeles a little over a few months ago. And a company hosted that for Roasters Guild members in the area to come. So that group that hosted that, they don't necessarily, I wouldn't call them a regional roasting group, because they're not planning to have this group that's set up and consistently doing these events. They could have been, but in this case, it was just a couple of Roasters Guild EC members that came together to put this event on. So the member-driven event is very, I would say, like entry level. Anybody can do it as long as you're a member, or you can just use it in the sense that you can look at that calendar and look at what events are coming up. So that's a member-driven event, like a member is hosting an event or a member is participating in an event and they want to post it to the community calendar to let everybody know about it. The regional roasting groups, I really see them as, groups of members, groups of, people in the community that are coming together to have some ongoing activity. And it's really, it could be a yearly thing, it could be every quarter, but something that's happening more than once and on an ongoing basis. So with the barista groups that have been formed, they tend to do like a monthly throwdown, and then they have like a culmination of all of the champions of those compete against each other in like a challenge environment. So with roasters communities, I'm hearing that there's like mini retreats happening. There's also just cuppings happening, and the groups would be people that are very similar to the Roasters Guild, and I guess the spirit of Roasters Guild was the same when it was formed. People coming together to do something more consistently for the purpose of education, providing research opportunities, and making sure that members feel engaged at all of those levels. So hopefully that answers those two groups. With the regional roasting groups, when we're going to put them on our map, one thing I do want to mention is that the Roasters Guild committee would be responsible to vet those communities. And what we want to do is make sure that it's not one single company posting that their regional group now that they're just having a monthly cupping because that's part of their practice. We want to make sure that it's members working together or companies working together to form this regional group.
Thanks, Monty. That's great. That even helped clarify for me a little bit the kind of the difference between member-driven events, MDEs, and the regional roaster groups. We have a question that came in, and unfortunately, Monty, it's for you too. So you're on again.
Oh. No worries.
Does the event have to be roasters only to qualify for the event support? And this goes to the SCAA budget that you so kindly put in for events. Right. So if you can speak to that, it would be great.
Sure. And what we discussed was that the committee, the Membership and Communications Committee, we would have a group look at, as these submissions come in for like a budget request, a reimbursement request, really. It doesn't have to be a specific roasting event, but my assumption would be that it would have to be something that's applicable to Roasters Guild members, since it is part of that budget. So something that they would find useful for their communities. I can't think of too many things that wouldn't be applicable or related to a coffee professional in that way. So unless you're talking about something totally like we're gonna go get spa manicures, I don't understand why it wouldn't be part of the coffee professionals. Something that they're interested in.
Well, that's great. I wondered if the question also had something to do with whether the individuals who are participating in the event, whether it's a roasting event or just a more broad networking event, if they have to be roasters, yeah, or if they can be, green buyers or other professions.
That's true. Okay, thank you, Andy. I was thinking, I was like, where is
I don't know
what
direction the question was intended, but both make sense.
No, definitely. No, and actually for roasters, there would definitely be a requirement that somebody would be a member of the Roasters Guild, and the same requirements hold true for Roasters Guild members. Is that as long as roasting is part of your profession, then that's great. The event itself could be networking. It could be educational in the form of cupping or tasting or actual roasting activity. We've had some events on the Barista Guild side that have been submitted that are like it's a member and then they bring a +1 that's a non-member, and it was really to encourage them to meet the regional group and meet other members, and they did all sorts of fun activities just to get to know each other. So that definitely, we would leave that to the committee, but there would be no restriction on our end for that. Encouraging those types of engagement opportunities, that's the best thing for any membership organization. So
Yeah, great. Okay, good. I think that addresses that question. We also got another question, and before I read this one, just a reminder that if you have any, press hashtag Roasters Guild or # in old school languages I've been using. I realized. Anyways, the next question is, how can I reach out to members in my area? And I think this has to do with the membership map that you're putting together. But as you mentioned, version 1 may not actually have contact information or specific ways to reach people. So what do people do in the meantime if they get this map and they say, oh great, there's this regional group? How do they get in touch with them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if you're a regional group that has been vetted and put on the map, and you are hosting an event like Todd was talking about when they're hosting the retreat that they have in March, because they have signed up for that to be placed on there, the part of the program would be that we would provide the membership list in that area, but it would be only those members that have submitted their contact information to be shared. So that's part of the privacy policy that we adhere to. And the purpose for that would be so that members are invited to this event that they're hosting. So yeah, we would share that. From a member standpoint, if you're just a member, I ask people to keep in mind that they can get in contact with other members by looking through the directory that is part of your login when you log into the Roasters Guild, when you log into the SCA portal. But on the map, because that is public facing, none of your private information would be shared. And that's, again, to maintain your privacy.
Cool. I see Danny waving his hand. I'm thinking he wants to say something. Please.
So you're talking about like old school way of doing things. You know, when I was back in my day, when I was roasting coffee, we had to we didn't have internet, and the way we had to go in to get in contact with these people were to go to their roasteries and put yourself out there and you know look you can look up roasteries and cafes right now online and then just go and visit them, and that way still that's what I still do. Like, it's hard to get people to reply a lot of times on email or you know, even on Facebook, whatever. Just go in there, meet them, and that makes it even easier to make a connection when you're face to face rather than having, you know, somebody send you a message on a email or chat or something. But yeah, so I that's how I like to do it. I like to get out and meet people face to face. And your region, if it's not too big, shouldn't be too hard, and you probably already know most of the people anyway. So getting them together and make it happen, it's work and it's fun and it's worth it.
And I imagine some of them have those pages like you were mentioning, Danny, and I bet that's a good way to spread the word and information about any local event that's happening. The Facebook page that you were saying?
Yeah, great. There was another question that came up, and I can't remember if you had given some sort of timing indication, but the question came up, Monsi, again, never sign off. Is there an ETA for the rollout of the new map, version 1.0?
Yeah, I am hoping that that would be ready by the retreat. So we are working through some of our programming, and infrastructure is there because you can see it on the Barista Guild side, but hopefully sooner, but at least by retreat.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have any questions out there? Hashtag Roasters Guild, and or any of our panelists, if you have anything you want to wrap up or say or sign off, we'll give it just a moment. All right, so I think that will conclude this session of Trierside Chat. So I really want to thank all of our panelists for participating, and definitely SCAA. Monsi is obviously doing a ton of work with her team to create real value for membership, and you know, supporting these groups is, I think, a huge part of that. And then behind the scenes today, we have Lily, who's always doing a million things behind the scenes from the SCAA, making this platform work and helping get the word out. So I really want to make sure to thank her as well. And again, I just want to, personally make myself available to anyone if you have any ideas, if you're really interested in forming a group. I haven't formed one, but I'd be really happy to help connect you to the right people to try and make tools and templates and stuff to make it easier for people going forward to form groups. I'm kind of good at that sort of stuff, and with Monsi behind me, there's, or in front of me actually, I'm behind anything, I'm sure we can get it all done. So just want to make myself available. So again, thanks everyone for participating, joining in, and have a great day. Join us for Trierside Chat Q3. We'll get the word out on the topic in a couple months.
I think Andy, I think